Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world watching this right now, and welcome back to another video on my investment portfolio channel. I hope you're all well and safe. I know the pubs are opening back up on the 4th of July, so some of you man better not go too crazy. I'm not an avid drinker myself, but I've seen some sights that I don't even wish upon any of my enemies, so yeah, just don't take it too far. When the fun stops, just stop. But enough chit chat, let's dive into my portfolio. So you may have noticed something a little different. Look at your screen. What do you see? What are you looking at? That's right, I've got my pies. Every time I say pie, the first thing that comes to my head are those people that play FIFA and name their clubs and who ate all the pies. If you know, you know. But just a little side note, if any of you want to get slapped on FIFA, just let me know, hit my DMs or something and I can arrange that. But just one condition, it has to be FIFA 19. I'm not trying to play FIFA 20, that game's trash. But I digress. As you can see, I've sectioned off my pies into 4 different parts. I've got my dividend pie, I've got my growth pie, I've got my ETF pie, and I've got my risky pie. This is essentially how I've been building up my portfolio for the last couple of months, since like March probably. So I allocate a percentage of my overall pot to each of these pies, with the most going into ETFs and the least going into my risky stocks. So for example, if I had £100, £55 would go into my ETFs, a £5 would go into my risky, 30 would go into dividends, and then, oh shit, what am I on now? And then 10 will go into growth stocks. That's just how I like to allocate it. I've seen some other pie setups which are different to mine, and I can appreciate that. Everyone has their own way of using these things. I'm just happy that they're here now. And I've been hearing people complaining about how it doesn't include the investments that you already have. But to be honest, I'm not too fussed about that at the moment. That will come out in another update and will make those people happy, I guess. I'm just happy that I have my beautiful pies right here, right now. Alright, so moving on to my top winners this week. You may notice some new additions to my portfolio. I think I have more than a handful of companies now, probably way too many. But let's start off with the worst of the best for a change. So let's start off with Shopify. Shopify here. So I know I'm down 4p, but technically this week, this is the best of the worst performing stock. So yeah, this is one of my new additions. I've been eyeing this stock for the longest time, waiting for it to drop. And on Wednesday, I think it was, I saw it at around $960. And I was like, all right, I'm going to jump in it when it gets back down to 930 or whatever. But by the end of the day, it went over 1,000 and I was like, F it, let's just get involved. As they say, you can't time the market. And realistically, will Shopify always be expensive? I don't know, probably. But I think it's still in the relatively early stage of its growth trajectory. And it seems like there's a lot of momentum behind it at the moment. So it would be good advice just to be a little wary. And I want to play it relatively safe, so I'll be cautious with the amounts that I'm buying with. But with big brands like Walmart and more recently Chipotle partnering with Shopify, this is just a stock that excites me. That's the reason for the big move this week, by the way, the partnership with Chipotle. Chipotle is my life. Essentially, this partnership will give them a platform to create an online market for farmers. And in these times, what better way to sell your products than through the internet, when you can barely sell it physically hand to hand. Moreover, I'm a big advocate of technology, autonomy, robotics, essentially anything that makes a human's life easier. And the transition from physical stores to online stores, in my eyes, is something that will be big. And you can already see it now, in fact, with the likes of Amazon and eBay online and physical stores like Woolworths closing down. So this whole new ecosystem, well, it's not that new anymore, but this online shopping ecosystem that we have still has a lot of room to grow in my eyes, and so does Shopify. And it kind of makes me wonder how long until we start seeing drones delivering our packages, and then I wonder how many people are going to start scoping them out the sky. That'll be interesting to look out for. Alright, so the next 2 stocks that I'm going to talk about are also new additions to my portfolio, one of them being Tesla. Yep, I bought Tesla, and the reason I bought Tesla is because I'm just fed up of waiting. I just can't do it anymore. I'm not going to wait for the price to drop to $200 because that's probably never going to happen. I remember when I was in school in like 2015 and I wanted to buy a Tesla, but I had no knowledge of the stock market and I wasn't even old enough to open an account anyway. But by the time I finally got into the stock market around the end of 2019, it was trading at about $300 and I still didn't get in. And yada yada yada, you know what happens next. It goes up to $900, drops back down to $400, where I probably should have bought in, but was still waiting for it to drop down to $200, which never happened. And then more recently, it breaks the $1,000 mark after releasing news that absolutely daggered Wall Street expectations, thus making it the most valuable automobile company in the world. So I just thought, F it again. You know, once again, I'm not going to try and time the market, so let me just get into it now. And as I said before, I love anything autonomous, anything that will make humans lazy. Sign me up. Let me be the first to test out all of those products because they were fully made for me. And do you remember when that company, I think they're called ARK Invest, they were saying that the price of Tesla could rise to like $7,000? What the hell is that noise? Yeah, they were saying that the price of Tesla could rise to about $7,000 by 2024. Or even past $14,000 in the future. And I'll be the first to put my hands up and say that I thought they were pushing the boat out too far when they came out with that. Not the fact that it would reach $7,000, but by 2024, that doesn't leave a lot of time to hit that mark. But however, we're in 2020, you know, hindsight is a beautiful thing, isn't it? Looking at that now, it's looking less fictional, and who knows? But if it does reach that $7,000 mark by 2024, I would be kicking myself for trying to time the market. So that's one of the reasons I'm jumping in now. And if we're being honest, which other company out there is even near to catching Tesla at the moment? I know the established automobile companies are creating their own electrical vehicles. They don't yet have that mass appeal to attract the amount of buyers they're looking for. And they don't have a CEO like Elon Musk gravitating people towards him. And I feel like if you're investing in Tesla, you're also investing in Elon Musk, because that guy can literally alter the price of Tesla through his fingertips. So be careful with that one. But that kindly brings me on to my biggest move this week, which is NIO. NIO, ticker symbol NIO, NIO, alright. And really for the same reason as I bought the other two companies that I've talked about, I bought NIO because I believe in technology. Admittedly, their financials aren't looking too pretty, which is why I've put them in the risky part of my portfolio. But I strongly believe that the Chinese economy will outgrow the US economy within my lifetime. I truly and honestly believe that one day the Chinese will have a better economy than the US, and it will happen in my lifetime. So I believe that the combination of my belief in autonomous technology and the strength of the Chinese economy, NIO will be, well, could be the stock. I'm saying it could because competition is high, but it could be a stock that could challenge Tesla in the far future. But aside from that, we can see that it's up around 35% this week because it delivered over 3,500 of its vehicles, which is a 179% increase from a year ago. And that also constitutes as an all-time high for monthly deliveries for the company. So that's good to hear. And then their CFO, Chief Financial Officer, said that he's confident the company will meet or beat targets, which is good news to me, because the things that I worry about most with this company is their ability to increase their profit margin. They haven't announced when they'll release their earnings, maybe within the next couple of months, but I'll be on the lookout for that. But yeah, those were my top winners this week. And if I'm being completely honest, I am expecting for the share price of these companies to fall in the short term, but I'm hopefully going to keep these for quite a while. And if I'm looking at that time frame, then I'm expecting them to rise quite a bit. Okay, so coming on to my top losers. I never like talking about these losers, it just brings my mood down. But to start off with the best performing loser, we have Moderna, which dropped around 4.4% this week. So Moderna was one of the first companies to come out and say that they had some sort of vaccination in the works to help fight the virus. But on Thursday, I believe it was, they reported that their late stage trial for the potential vaccine will be delayed by a few weeks due to a change in protocols. What those protocols are, I don't know, but they still believe that their phase 3 trial will begin sometime in July. This delay could essentially push back their own goal of delivering a safe vaccine before the end of the year, resulting in a vaccine going into production next year instead. And I don't even want to imagine what will happen to the price if Moderna come out in the next couple of weeks and say that they've been delayed even further. I honestly might just start crying because that would be too much. But next up, we have another new addition to the portfolio. Boohoo, boohoo.com. Boohoo. So Boohoo, I bought Boohoo as a growth stock. And I didn't really see too much news around Boohoo this week, which kind of resulted in this 5% decrease this week. Apart from a little bit of controversy where apparently a garment workers' rights group said that Boohoo were putting workers at Leicester factories at risk of catching a coronavirus infection by enforcing them to come into work and obviously manufacture their goods. And Boohoo said that they'll investigate, so that's good to see that they have some good ethics about them. But does that mean that they don't properly track who works for them and when? I don't know, I just found that a bit interesting that they had to investigate something like that. I'm not going to speak too much about it because I don't know 100% how they manufacture their clothes. And obviously if they are exploiting cheap labor, then I'm going to take back the flowers I just gave them. But yeah, not too much news around those ends. Okay, and coming up to my biggest loser this week, we have Nikkei Corporation falling 10% this week. Autonomous company, technology, future. I've said it enough times this episode, you get the point. So Nikola mentioned on Monday that it had begun taking pre-orders for their pickup truck, which only seems to be a prototype at the moment. But chairman of Nikkei tweeted out this, basically saying that they have a partnership, an OEM partnership, to start producing their vehicles. But the question is, who is the OEM? OEM being the industry term for an automaker. And I think at this point, investors are just sick and tired of all these small hints and these guessing games and want actual, visible, tangible results. Although I think that if you're investing in this stock, it's purely based on speculation anyway. There aren't any really good reasons coming out of the company right now, apart from spoken words, that could really justify the price Nikola is trading at. So if you are an investor right now, I would find it hard to believe that you have invested for any other reason other than speculation, the same as me basically. They have their earnings coming up in the next 2 months or so. So of course that may be a big point of action that determines where this stock is going to end up by the end of the year. So a lot of eyes and ears will be around that, and I'm expecting big price movements as a result. So yeah, those are my top losers this week. And oh yeah, I just remembered I got dividends. Yes, I got paid dividends from Nike, Coca-Cola, ADP. I also got some other dividends, with the big one coming in from my high dividend yield ETF. That's probably my favorite instrument because the price drops quite frequently, giving you an opportunity to buy at a lower price. And of course, the more you buy, the more dividends you get. So happy days. Anyway, I'm going to end the video there. Congrats on the FBI for catching Ghislaine Maxwell. Prince Andrew, they're coming for you next, buddy. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Stay safe in a bit.